Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's special presentation. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest, and this week I'll be walking you through the 3 steps to developing a winning portfolio. Let's jump right into the software. With any successful trader comes a successful, time-tested trading plan. Today we are going to demonstrate how you can now test your plan even easier before ever putting your hard-earned money behind it. We are going to look at this most recent rally as our example of how to test and prepare to implement a successful trading plan going forward. So let's jump into the market timing graph to begin. To get to the market timing graph, we'll click on the Graphs tab at the top, click on the word Stock in the upper left hand corner, and select Market Timing. And I've opened our market timing graph to the default layout, which shows the VectorVest composite price at top. Then below there, the MTI, the BSR, and the RT. And as we can see, back on November 3rd of 2016, the MTI was around the 0.6 level, showing the market is starting to look for a bottom. And the buy to sell ratio was at 0.20, which indicates an oversold market. So therefore, that's the time to start preparing for an entry point to get back into the market. So for our test here today, that's where we'll start off. So if we turn on confirmed calls by clicking on it in the lower left hand corner, we can see the confirmed up call came on the 15th of November and ended on the 14th of March. So therefore, that's going to be our time frame that we'd want to test through to see what we can use going forward from there. Now, to find some strategies that you could potentially use, that's where we would move into the Unisearch tool by clicking on the Unisearch tab at the very top. And while you can use any search that you would like to out of the 200 that we have already pre-built or any of your own custom searches, today we'll focus on the Searches Conservative folder. Now, to identify where we should be starting at, what we would want to do is first change the date right next to the Run Search button back to the 15th of November of 2016, and then go ahead and start running our searches as of that date, and then quick testing the top 10. Now a quick test gives us a basic performance from point A to point B to help us home in on the search that is performing the best over a certain time frame. So once the quick test comes up, we'll then change our date back to the 14th of March, which happened to be the confirmed down date, and select OK, and then rerun the test. So as we can see, the top 10 performers from the conservative strategy was up 9%. Now, I've done the testing already, and the search that we're going to choose to continue with today is pale blue chips. If we run the same search and quick test the top 10, we can see the top performers were up 13% here, with 9 winners and only 1 loser, showing a very strong basket of stocks here. So once we've identified our search that we'd like to use, the next step is developing a plan around that search. To develop the plan, that's where we would then start to use the backtesting tool. So we'll close out of the quick test here and click on the backtester tab at the top. And then we'll select Backtest an Idea. We'll then start off by giving it a name. Then we'll click on Build a Custom Trading System below there. And before we move any further, I just want to point out that to be able to use these different market timing lists does require the Auto Tester or Auto Timer tool. If you don't have it, feel free to give our support a call, and they'd be glad to set up a 2-week free trial for you. So now we're going to stick with confirmed calls for the time being, and then we'll click on Automation Rules up on the left-hand side. We'll go down and select our search from the Searches Conservative folder, and then click on Pale Blue Chips. Next step is clicking on Stop Criteria. And we'll start off with the most common and generic which is a 50% gain and a 10% loss. Once we have that in there, we'll then click on More Settings. And we'll leave everything to the default so far. So we'll try to maintain 10 positions. We'll automatically replace closed positions. We're not going to limit the number of positions opened in a day. When entering this situation, we'll close any open position. So when entering a confirmed up, we'll close any open position, but that won't have an effect on this testing here. And then we'll invest average portfolio value. We'll use odd lots. Limit repurchases to not repurchase a stock I currently own. And then we'll keep don't buy if stock violates stop criteria at purchase selected, and maximum percent of stock's average volume to 10%. So then we'll click on automation rules down, and we'll simply go to cash in a confirmed down market. So then we click on finish at the bottom, and then select our test period in the bottom left to choose November 15th as our start date, and we'll run it to current, which is the 31st of May. We'll then hit OK, and then go ahead and run our test. And then I'll maximize the screen to see this a little bit better. So as we can see, we ended up with a 13.24% gain. But if you notice, most of that gain was made by the beginning of March. After the beginning of March, the portfolio really moved sideways. And now to optimize the pale blue chips, you can right-click and make a copy of this test, and then click on Customize Trading System in the bottom right. And now we can change one variable at a time to find what works best for pale blue chips. To save the viewers at home a lot of time, I have tested this, and I have found that a stop criteria of a 20% gain rather than a 50% gain actually increases the performance of these. And then also under more settings, I have found 5 stocks works better than 10, and not automatically replacing the closed positions increases our portfolio performance even more. So when I uncheck automatically replace closed positions, that means once a position gets stopped out by either meeting the 20% gain or 10% loss, or if we get a confirmed down signal, it will not replace that position until a new confirmed up signal is given. So those will be the only changes that we make to this test. We'll still go to cash in a confirmed down signal. So now we can go ahead and click on finish, and then finish and run. And then before we click on finish and run, we'll just change the name to make it easy to identify going forward. And now we click on finish and run. So at the top of the backtest screen, we can see the pale blue chips with the 50% gain, 10% loss, and holding a basket of 10 stocks gives us a total gain of 13.24% with a max drawdown of 5.8%. Whereas after our testing is shown, if we stick with 5 stocks, do not automatically replace the closed positions, and use a 20% gain and 10% loss, we get a 22% gain overall with only a 2.72% max drawdown. So we decrease the max drawdown by almost half, and we increase the portfolio performance by almost double. So once you've found a plan that you're comfortable with and meets your investment style, the next step would be to paper trade it in real time going forward. Well, here at VectorVest, we make it even easier than ever to be able to track it in real time. To do so, all we have to do is right-click on the test and choose Convert to Portfolio. And we'll start with an empty portfolio, so therefore it will start from scratch as of today. We'll keep all the default settings of 100,000 and commissions $9.95 a trade. And we'll start with the Portfolio Genius on. Once again, to have the automation with the Genius, it does require the auto timer. So now I'll click on OK, and I'll open the portfolio now. So now we have started implementing the backtest that we have found to be successful in real time going forward. So we can now let this portfolio continue to run to prove to us that it can not only make money in the past, but it can also make money in the present day. And now, one of the new features in VectorVest that we really want to highlight today is the new portfolio performance that you can find in the lower left-hand corner. By clicking on it, you will now get a new screen that shows up that we can use to rank and analyze all of our own portfolios. If you notice, we'll have the model portfolios shown here, as well as our own personal portfolios. So once again, if you have multiple different portfolios that you like the performance of or want to keep an eye on, this is a great new feature to help you manage them. You can now quickly identify the portfolio with the biggest gain by simply clicking on a percent gain loss column. You can look for the portfolio. You can identify the portfolio with the highest annualized rate of return, or ARR, or the compounded rate of return. Or let's say you want to find the portfolio with the lowest drawdown. Now, with a single click of your mouse, you can instantly identify the portfolio with the lowest max drawdown. And the max drawdown looks at the biggest drop in the portfolio from peak to trough before a new peak is made. So another way of looking at it is the max drawdown can be considered the pain factor. How big of a loss can I expect at any given point? So now we can rank, analyze, and sort our portfolios much more efficiently and quicker than ever before. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. And if you have any questions regarding this week's special presentation, feel free to give our support a call, and they would be glad to help you out. Good night.